You can change anything in an instant when you understand and take
I do talk about myself to myself and about myself in the third person, which I always thought was a bit peculiar, but maybe not. Maybe that's just self-awareness.
That's normal.
I go, come on, Carol, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, particularly because like my particular interest is the mindset and well-being of teachers, with me being a teacher, and that's like kind of the niche that I want to work with. And I I think it would be a very unpopular opinion, but the truth is that, you know,
So that's it. Like when we're in like this lack of awareness, we blame everything, the external world, external things, external people for our problems, for everything in our lives. But when we become self-aware, we start to realize that we are the cause of everything we do. And we can change that. We have the choice now to make a better decision next time. You know, when you become aware and stop blaming other people for your problems, that's when you're kind of going, I can actually solve this. But if you're externally blaming everyone all the time, you'll never solve anything, because you're always saying, you should fix this, you should fix this. No, I should fix this. And that's what is so important. You know, it really, really is just to know that you can change anything in an instant when you understand and take responsibility for your own triggers.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, particularly because like my particular interest is the mindset and well-being of teachers, with me being a teacher, and that's like kind of the niche that I want to work with. And I I think it would be a very unpopular opinion, but the truth is that, you know, when you ask teachers often what would improve their mindset, it is rarely things that they should do. It's usually like, I know they've done like asked staff before in a school, and the sort of things that might come out is like, we'd like a day to go Christmas shopping, or we'd like less marking, or we'd like, and yes, I'm not at all saying that it isn't a high stress job and the paperwork is crazy, and you know, obviously that has an impact on somebody's well-being. But at the same time, if you put all your fixes outside yourself, you're waiting for someone else to fix you, and it's really disempowering. And there's so many things that you can do without anything on the external changing that can make massive changes to your life and your well-being. Like for myself, I'm in the same school doing the same job. You know, I live in the same house. I've got my children, and you know, nothing's changed. But a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was having anxiety attacks so bad that I was taken from work in an ambulance because they found an anomaly on my heart. And now I am like, people are like, oh, I need a bit of what you've got, Carol, because I'm skipping in like to work morning like this every morning, and it's just genuine. I'm just like, yay, it's another day, woo. And nothing much has changed apart from my mindset and how I am, and my awareness of the power that we have over our own emotions and behaviors and thoughts, you know. So whilst it's probably not the answer that teachers would want, you know, it's your responsibility. Actually, when you sit in that for a minute, you realize how powerful that is, how empowering it is, that like actually you get to fix it, like, and you can, and I can show you how. You know, there's so many amazing coaches out there that can show you how to flip things around. And self-awareness is the core of it.
It really is. And that's where it all starts. Like, it's a simple thing. If you tell somebody that is so unaware that they have the power within them to fix themselves, they're not going to believe it. And then, years ago, if you'd said that to me, I would have told you were away with the fairies. I really would have. And when I first started reading Secret as well, I was probably a little bit skeptical reading it, because my old self would have been very like, oh, that's just a scam, that's just this and that, that's not real, and it's just a simple thing, but it's hard for you to conceive when you're in that matrix, in that kind of conditioned reality, you don't realize what power you actually hold within yourself.
And so I had a look into it. What kinds of things, if you're not someone who's self-aware, what would be the indicators? If you're not somebody who's self-aware, what kind of symptoms is there of that? Hold on, I've got it here somewhere. I wrote it down. So if you've got low self-awareness, you may be reactive. So you're less likely to reflect on things that have happened and more likely to react, sort of maybe have meltdowns or get angry or get upset, be highly emotional, and not really sit afterwards and think about what led to that and what might be able to change that. Maybe blaming your financial situation or your workplace or your colleagues or your children or your partner for why you're feeling and behaving that way, rather than being reflective on yourself. Difficulty, this is an interesting one, difficulty accepting feedback. Now, I would say I very much had difficulty accepting feedback, not because I thought I was perfect, but because I was so easily wounded. And even though, like, at work, they would give the, like the 2 stars and wish type thing, where they would give you some positives as well. Some people call it a shit sandwich, where they say something nice and then they say something not nice and then they say something nice at the end. But I would focus in on the bit that was negative, because I was very easily wounded and because I had low self-esteem, really. So
I used to get very angry if somebody would tell me how to do anything. And I would actually get angry. And I came to realize when I became aware, it was like, hold on now. If somebody knows a better way to do something, would that not make my life a bit easier if I actually just accepted that?
Yeah.
So then I started to listen to people's feedback and kind of go, you're making my life easier, instead of me just getting angry thinking I know everything. And that's the thing, we do. When we're unaware, we think, I know everything. Don't tell me what to do. I know it. And when you become aware, then you actually accept and feel grateful for feedback.
Yeah. And it goes back to that thing about, if you're a people pleaser, so if all your energy and your opinion of yourself is based on external things, then when somebody says something that isn't, that is negative about you, or even constructive criticism, but you can't take that, because you can't think, oh, well, I've got all these other great things about me, or, oh, good point, that is something I could work on. It's like, oh, I'm wounded, because you have low self-esteem in the first place. That's why having values, knowing what your values are, living by your values, and having a strong sense of self and self-worth can really help. Repeating negative patterns, so doing the same stuff and not learning.
The same relationships, the same narcissists over and over again.
Oh yeah,
keep happening until you become aware.
I've definitely been there, and this is funny because I know some people in my life, and you see them going around in circles, and just not learning by it. But yeah, I was also one of those people that just never learned. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Do you choose your words wisely? If you don't choose your words wisely, you're probably being reactive. Are you open to new and different ideas? So somebody who is not self-aware would find other people's opinions almost a threat. It's like, my opinion is right, and not being open to even listen.
Oh, I've seen that. That's very narcissistic trait as well. It's like, I'm right. You can tell a narcissist scientific proof that they're wrong, and they still tell you that they're right. It's just...
They create their own reality, though, don't they? It doesn't have to be in the one with everybody else. Apparently, being good at time management is a self-awareness thing. I suppose that's knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, how long it will take you to do something. So if you're not very self-aware, you might think that you'll be able to get ready really quickly, and get out the door in 5 minutes when actually it's going to take you far longer than that. So if you are very self-aware, you're probably very good at managing your time and getting things done because you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You probably journal if you are very
well, what I find
self-aware.
my version of journaling is self-talk. So I self-therapize myself. I literally,
That's on you.
yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, because Carl Jung says it. It's a great way to
do you talk to yourself?
Oh, yeah, because Carl Jung, actually, people think it's crazy, but it's not. Carl Jung describes it as a great way to understand your true self. And I do this on a daily basis because I'm too lazy to write. So I ask myself those open questions. Why did this make me feel? Why are you feeling this way? Why did you react that way? Why are you getting angry? You know, it's not the speaker's fault that you're angry. There's something inside you that's like, I'm making you angry. You know, that's what I do every day. That's my version of that.
Yeah. I do talk about myself to myself and about myself in the third person, which I always thought was a bit peculiar, but maybe not. Maybe that's just self-awareness.
That's normal.
I go, come on, Carol. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on, you can do better than this, Carol. Get out of bed. Yeah, I talk to myself like that. So maybe that's a good thing.
It is. It's self-motivation.
Being patient. Are you empathetic? Are you accepting of your mistakes? So are you able to make a mistake, apologize, acknowledge that it's a mistake, move on from that without getting sour or making excuses
or blaming somebody else for it?
Yeah, exactly. Making excuses or you know, are you humble? So if you've done something, are you always like going, I'm amazing, look at this, look at this, look at this? I think I'm quite humble with my achievements with karate. I don't go on and on about it, but maybe other people will think different.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we should be allowed, like, we're told to celebrate. There's a certain thing, we're told we're not supposed to praise ourselves. We can praise ourselves to a certain extent. There is a certain way of actually celebrating yourself without seeming like a fathead or like that you're boasting. So there's a difference there, but that's something to be aware of as well.
Yeah. So things that you could do if you want to build your self-awareness. So we've said journaling. So what would journaling look like? So journaling would be either in the morning. A good practice is morning and evening, just for a couple of minutes. And it's like you start off with what you want to achieve from the day and some positive things. You could write down your affirmations. And then at the end of the day, it's like, what challenge did you have? How did you feel? How did you deal with it? And you might notice when you start journaling, you can notice patterns. So it might be that your feeling was, oh, I felt really tired today, but you noticed that you had a coffee late the night before, or it might be that you didn't have enough sleep. So journaling can spot the patterns in that perhaps that are obvious really, but because you're not writing them down, you're not paying attention to them, that can help you make better choices. And it's like having the emotion and sitting in it and feeling it and thinking and getting curious about where that's coming from. Which was really interesting. I think I mentioned to you that out of nowhere, I was fine. I was at work. Everything was great. And I was making a brew in the morning before the kids came in. And I just got like this little pang of anxiety. And I could feel it. It was like a flutter. And I was like, oh, where's that coming from? And I hadn't particularly had a thought that I could think of. And just before it. But when I'm thinking about it, I think it's a little bit of anxiety about this new aspect of work. And it's like, oh, can you do it? Because ordinarily, if a door had opened 2 years ago, I would have slammed it shut and run. I'd be like, oh, no, that's too much work. So I guess it's like that little residual, like, oh, you don't want to do that. Yeah, but it's interesting because I don't remember having any thoughts before it. Have you ever had like a feeling and not been able to?
You did tell me this the other day, but was there anyone else in the room at the same time?
No, that's what I mean. Look,
Or had you walked past anyone? Had you been in contact with anyone on the way to make that coffee or anything? Like, did you walk past anyone?
Yeah, maybe somebody passed.
Because you're an empath, so you might have taken on an external anxiety from somebody around you. Yeah, that could have been it. I never thought that the other day when you said it. But if it was yours, at least you're aware of it happening, and you were able to understand it if it was yours. But maybe it wasn't even yours, to be honest. It could have been that you picked it up from somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you said there was no thoughts, there was no anxiety around it. Yes, you were aware enough to connect it to something that you were going through. So maybe that was a trigger, in a sense. But it could have been actually somebody else's anxiety that you were feeling. That maybe triggered.
Which is interesting, actually, because it makes me wonder. Because my mind's a pretty nice place to be these days. I don't berate myself or anything. I'm quite, I'm not very judgmental of myself. I like to push myself on and be reflective, but I'm not mean about it like I used to be. It makes me wonder if at one time when my brain was really sort of negative, if I'd picked up on that emotion from someone else, and it would have just started me spiraling. It wasn't even really mine. Because
that's it.
And I bet that happens actually to some people. Like, you feel somebody else's, because it's scientifically proven that cortisol from other people gets into your bloodstream. That's why sometimes somebody can come in the room and you can just immediately feel anxious, like, because they're feeling anxious, can't you?
And that's it. Well, we're empaths, so we do feel energy of people around us, whether it's collective or in the same room, the same environment. And that's another importance of self-awareness. As an empath, we need to be aware of what is our energy and what isn't, and to be able to protect ourselves.
Yeah. Yes, maybe it wasn't mine then.
Yeah. Because I can be very depleted by lower energies around me, and it's as I'm healing, I'm getting stronger and protecting that. But there was a time before I was aware of my reception to other people's energies, that I feel so drained and depleted and not know actually why. And now that I've discovered this truth within myself, I understand that a lot of the time I'm drained because of energy that's nothing even to do with me. So that's why it's so important to be aware of whose energy you're taking on, or if it isn't yours in the first place.
Yeah.